Now, the SA Voters Guide has done a survey on the elections, now the various political parties, as well as the issues they faced during campaigning. And the survey, which has been done for the past 30 years, gives voters the opportunity to know exactly where their preferred parties stand in terms of various social issues. Now, this year, the survey included things like vaccinations and lockdowns. And to tell us more, Bongani Luthuli from the SA Voters Guide joins us now. Now, Bongani, how important is it for voters to know exactly who they're voting for and also what these parties stand for, especially with new things that we now know about lockdowns, mandatory vaccinations, pro-life issues and all those things?
Morning and thanks for having me. Crucially, I think in any democracy is voter literacy, and that's where South African Voters Guide fits in neatly in the discourse of politics in this country. Now, we've seen a trend whether we want to gauge whether people, do they vote in terms of fidelity of the particular party, or they vote because of issues and how the political parties, react to issues as they are confronted. So what we did in this election with the COVID-19 in the mix, wanted to see whether the political parties were dealing with the scourge and what was the solution to the impasse in the pandemic that we're facing, in order to allow the voter citizenry to be able to make up their mind whether are they relevant to the issues that you are dealing with. And that was at the heart of the survey that we did. I think it really establishes, the voter patterns, as it were, to see what are the trends.
And how different is it from the previous survey that you did, especially with the 2016 elections, compared to this one? What are some of the big changes that you've seen there?
So this year with the pandemic, what we wanted to see is whether our political parties moving with the heartbeat and the pulse of societies. In other words, what is the solution when it comes to COVID-19 vaccinations as well as lockdowns? What we found on their manifestos is that parties have been paying lip service on those issues and the interventions they propose, but they're not in the heart of the manifestos. There's only one political party of all the parties we surveyed that dealt with the issue of lockdown as an intervention and as alternatives. Otherwise, as parties would do, they approbate and reprobate just before the elections on a particular standpoint. What's different this time is that we feel as South African Voters Guide that this election will center down on values as opposed to the normal issues of service delivery that is at the crux of and the core of local government. But this time, the service delivery is linked with values. Are parties dealing with the values of the society as espoused by the societies? And that's where we saw the trend now coming in terms of principal stances on vaccinations, principal stances against lockdowns, principal stances against passports of vaccination. And that's where we saw a split and a clear division between the left and the right, the Marxists and the liberals, as well as the center right and the center left. Ideologically, that was cleanly pigeonholed in our assessment.
And, you mentioned now, values are going to play an important role, and service delivery is also, maybe not on the back burner, but it's also, top of mind when voters go to the polls on Monday. Are you saying that, people are they still care about values and what parties stand for in terms of that, compared to just, service delivery?
Yes. What makes this elections interesting is that the issue of service delivery has to do also fundamentally with whether are you even able to access your amenities. When we talk, for instance, issues of passport vaccinations, whether are you able to move around, that's freedom of movement and freedom to gather. Now, linked to that, you can't sit and say you are free. You can sit at home and say you are enjoying the liberties that are shown in the Constitution, which is very liberal. Now, what makes this interesting is that the political parties have decided, and the people at large know that the political parties talk about service delivery ad nauseum when it comes to, elections. We know what people feel, for instance, about various municipalities that have been governing for that particular tenure. That's common cause. But adding to that, and if we were to do a poll on service delivery, we know what the people say in the city of Maluti, Apofung, in Free State, the issues of corruption there. We know what they say about that, but they want to get deeper and say,
now very important. I think it's very important. Just one last question, very shortly. Monday is voting day. Where can people get information like this so that they can make a clear decision, especially those who don't know who they're going to vote for on Monday?
They can come to our website. It's called www.savotersguide.org. They can also go to imthestory.co.za. We also work in collaboration with Hope Indaba 2021. They can get that information there and make an educated choice about their franchise on Monday, the 1st of November.
Very important to make an educated choice when Monday arrives for voters in South Africa. Thank